And you were watching her?
No, she never followed the recipe, and I never really watched her at that point, no.
June 2022, Trooping the Color. Tom Parker Bowles showed up expecting his usual VIP access to the royal box at Buckingham Palace.
Whole palace, there's 1,000 people working at the palace, so it wasn't just cooking for the royals, it was cooking for the whole household.
He was stopped at the entrance. His name wasn't on the approved list anymore. A security officer told him he could watch from the public viewing area.
But does it feel weird for you to start sort of thinking of her as the Queen?
Not really, because she's still, our mother. I say speaking not the royal we, speaking for my sister and me. But she is she's our mother, and I think change happens, but I don't care what anyone says. This wasn't any sort of...
Tom asked to speak to someone in charge. He pulled out his phone to call his mother, but the decision had already been made at the highest level. Tom Parker Bowles is a food writer and critic. He's actually quite successful. He's written cookbooks, hosted food shows, won awards for his restaurant reviews. He earned his career on his own merit.
I think change happens, but I don't care what anyone says. This wasn't any sort of end game. She married the person she loved, and this is what happened. I think that's it.
But being Camilla's son gave him access to places that had nothing to do with food writing. After Charles and Camilla married in 2005, Tom attended family dinners at Highgrove and private shoots at Balmoral. Normal stuff. But Tom started treating that access differently than his sister Laura did. Laura kept a lower profile. Tom was more comfortable using his connection.
Thanks goes to the King and Queen, my mother, and obviously the King, without whom this book, wouldn't have been here.
By 2010, Tom was showing up at royal charity galas, private art viewings, and estate planning meetings at the Duchy of Cornwall. Staff noticed he'd often bring a +1 to events where guests were limited to working royals and their spouses. When questioned, he'd say his mother had approved it. The first major problem happened in August 2019 at Balmoral. Tom brought a photographer friend who took photos around the estate, including inside private kitchens and family rooms. A few months later, Tom wrote an article about the culinary traditions at one of Britain's most historic estates. He didn't name Balmoral directly, but the details made it obvious. Palace staff were furious. Tom had basically given readers a tour of private spaces without permission.
My name is Tom Parker Bowles. I'm a judge on Family Food Fight, and these are 3 recipes that any amateur chef could do. They're really easy.
When confronted, Tom said he'd never signed any confidentiality agreements. Technically true, but the expectation of discretion was supposed to be understood. Prince William was particularly angry. He told his father that Tom's access needed to be restricted. Charles asked Camilla to talk to Tom about being more careful, but no formal consequences happened. By 2021, palace staff kept notes about Tom's behavior. At a Clarence House reception in March 2021, Tom asked staff to arrange a car service. When told the royal car service was only for working royals, he said something like, "I'm here as part of the Queen Consort's family, surely that counts." The bigger issue came with the 2022 Platinum Jubilee guest lists. Tom assumed he'd be included in all main events. When he received his invitation package, he was invited to some public events but not the private family gatherings. Tom called his mother's private secretary to complain. He asked if there was a way to upgrade his invitations. The answer was no. What really caused problems was that Tom started calling junior staff members, asking if they could adjust seating arrangements or get him into additional events. One staff member eventually reported the situation. Senior palace officials started taking a harder look at Tom's behavior.
This is my first time in Nigeria. I'm ashamed to admit. Why the hell I haven't been here earlier, I don't know. But it is my first time, and I'm immediately in love.
The situation that finally got Tom banned happened in May 2022 at a private dinner Charles hosted for major donors to the Prince's Foundation. Tom wasn't originally on the guest list, but Camilla asked if he could attend. Charles agreed. During the dinner, Tom allegedly spent significant time talking to wealthy donors about potential business opportunities. He mentioned a restaurant project and suggested some donors might be interested in investing. Using a charity dinner to pitch business deals was completely inappropriate. By the next morning, 2 donors had mentioned it to Charles's private office. When confronted, Tom reportedly didn't see the problem. He felt he was just networking.
as a sort of a trainee and under chef in Queen Victoria, towards the end of Queen Victoria's reign, in her kitchen.
Palace officials made a decision. Tom would no longer receive automatic invitations to royal events. He could attend major public occasions where Camilla specifically requested his presence, but all semi-private receptions, dinners, and gatherings were off limits. The ban wasn't announced publicly. Tom's name simply stopped appearing on guest lists. When he showed up at Trooping the Colour a few weeks later, the new policy was in effect. Tom was genuinely hurt.
And the wider family of realms, of whose talents, traditions, and achievements I am so inexpressibly proud.
Camilla tried to intervene several times, but William and Princess Anne held firm. The compromise was that Tom could attend major state occasions where his absence would be noticed. Christmas at Sandringham, Easter services, big Jubilee celebrations, but everything else was closed. Tom has kept a much lower profile since 2022. He still writes about food and does television work, but he's stopped mentioning his royal connections as much. Here's the thing that makes Tom's situation different from his sister Laura's. Laura understood boundaries. Tom seemed to genuinely believe his access was permanent and came with privileges. When the palace finally drew clear lines, it came as a shock. The ban remains in place today. Tom hasn't been to a private royal event in over 2 years. Do you think the palace was too harsh on Tom, or did he cross too many lines? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more inside stories. Thanks for watching.
Charles has yet to grant them any royal titles, and now it seems she has begun to sway Charles. When I learned of this, I immediately informed William and confronted Charles. If he cannot uphold his duty as king, then the throne should pass to someone truly worthy. The monarchy exists to serve the nation, not as a chessboard for family power plays. I will stand as the last line of defense.